Oh hey, if you're the parent of a teen or a young adult, what worries you? Before you answer that though, you're probably wondering why we're sitting around my kitchen table. Well, in the past, many key family conversations happened around the family kitchen table. And today we're going to be having a key conversation about family. So what worries you? What is it? Many parents are worried today. And as I spend time with our generation of parents of Gen Z, I'm finding that we're a generation that has a knot in our stomach because we're always worried. We're worried about the future for our children. Right now, 40% of all employers are saying that they don't want to hire Gen Z anymore. 60% are saying that they have fired a Gen Z in the last 30 days. And 53% of all the parents of Gen Z are worried that their children are not going to be able to provide for themselves. So what's the cause of this? Well, the cause is something that I call the gap. And the gap is the difference between the understanding and the tools that Gen Z should be bringing into the workforce and what they're actually bringing. That difference is the gap. And that gap is what's hurting them. So what do we do about it? Well, that's why I wrote the book, Fill the Gap. How Gen Z can enter the workforce with competence and with confidence. Now, usually at this point, what I'll say is, here's where you can get my book. Go ahead and grab it. Get it into the hands of your teens and young adults as soon as you can. Good advice, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But first, I want to give you a couple of tools. Because what Fill the Gap is going to do is it's going to help your sons and your daughters set themselves apart. Become the exception to the stereotypical Gen Z. Because the parents of stereotypical Gen Z, they should be worried. Okay, so what are the tools? Well, here's what I hear many parents saying as when their children are younger. Oh, you are amazing. You are so special. Well, the reality is they might be special to their mom and dad, but they're not special in the workforce. They're not special at school. And it's raising unrealistic expectations for these children, for these teens and young adults eventually. But what's also happening is they're hitting school, and then they're finding that they're not really allowed to fail anymore. They're pushed through, even if they're not doing well. And deadlines, hard and fast deadlines, seem to be a thing of the past in our education systems. And so what happens is then these teens and these young adults hit our workforce, bam, they fail, and they don't know how to deal with it. They run straight up against a deadline, and they're not sure how to deal with it. Many of them panic. Many of them deal with panic at that point where they don't know how to deal with it. They go, I don't know how to deal with deadlines. They're not lying. They haven't been taught how. So as parents, what do we do? What can you do? Well, here's two things that you can do. The first thing you can do is set them up to fail. Set them up to fail. What kind of a parent does that? A good parent. Give them tasks to do when they're children and when they're teens that you know that they're not going to be able to succeed at because they don't have the right tools and skills yet. Let them fail. And when they fail, pick them up and then ask them some questions. Ask them, so what went wrong? What could you do different next time? What did you learn? What did you do wrong? Let them know that they failed. Don't be afraid to use that word. It's not a bad word. And then help them process what they can do better, what they can learn from this experience. And then, secondly, set clear expectations for your family. Set clear expectations as far as making their beds, keeping their rooms clean, chores that they share in around the house, because our children are a part of our family. They are not the focus of our family. They're a part of it. And every child needs to contribute to the overall well-being and the running of the family. Give them chores, things that you expect them to do on a weekly basis. If it snows, do you expect them to grab a shovel and to help you shovel the driveway? If the lawn gets too long, do you expect them to grab a lawnmower or a trimmer and to help you trim the lawn? Set the expectations, but then hold them accountable. Who enjoys these things? Our kids won't, more than likely. Some might, but most don't. And it's going to be a struggle, but hold them accountable. Oh, I don't feel like it. I don't want to do it. I don't feel so good today. My stomach's bothering me. I have a little bit of a headache. They're going to try all kinds of things. Let them do them later. But they need to do those chores. And then hold them accountable. Make sure that they follow through. You're preparing them to be the exception to the stereotypical Gen Z. Because the stereotypical Gen Z, their parents, should be worried at this point. Fill the Gap is going to help your son, your daughter, increase their value in the workplace. They're going to set themselves apart from that stereotypical Gen Z. Now, click on the Learn More button to find out how you can get your copies, paperback, digital, or audio version, and get them into the hands of your sons and your daughters so that they can become an exception to the stereotypical Gen Z. Because you don't need to be that parent who worries. You don't need to be that parent who has a knot in their stomach. Not with Fill the Gap.